Welcome to the Daily Dose. In honor of today's topic of don't lie, I want to play the game Two Truths and a Lie. So here's how it goes. I'll say 3 things about myself. 2 are going to be true and 1 is a lie. It's going to be tough. Are you ready? All right, here we go. 1, I like music. 2, I have lied before. And number 3, I have been to Mars. Okay, I know this is really tough, but I'm definitely going to give you a few seconds to work through this. Okay, if you guessed that the lie is that I've been to Mars, you're right, which means that I like music and that I am a liar. Why do I say this other than just to be goofy? Well, because I think if we're all honest with ourselves, we know that we have all told a fib and a lie at some point in our lives. But rather than talk about why they are bad and how they can hurt us, I want to dig in a little bit more to the underlying reasons why we do this. I just recently started reading a book called Dream Big by Bob Goff. If you are unfamiliar with Bob Goff's work, I highly recommend checking him out. Here's an excerpt from the book. Bob says, I was a good kid in junior high, but a confused one. My dad smoked cigarettes when I was growing up, so I figured I would too. Back then, cigarettes were sold at the post office in a vending machine. You could pick up a roll of stamps and emphysema on the same trip. After school one day, I went to the post office to get a pack for myself. It only cost 2 quarters for a pack because tobacco companies hadn't been sued for billions and people didn't know that they could die if they smoked. Just after I put my second quarter in and I pulled the lever, my Boy Scout leader came up behind me. It was certainly an awkward moment. I wanted to say the cigarettes were for my mom, but the Scoutmaster knew my mom and that she didn't smoke. So I did the honorable thing, and I told him they were for my sister. He continues, some of us start early telling lies about ourselves or others. We do this for a number of reasons, but primarily because we're uncertain about who we are and how we fit into the larger arc of our lives. We're insecure and looking for acceptance, so we do dumb things in our desperation. We smoke or cuss or dress or act like someone we really aren't to gain acceptance from people we really don't know. We all make mistakes. Some are premeditated and weirdly intended to be self-destructive. Others just arise simply because we don't understand what is happening around us. Those are the mistakes that remind us of our humanity and help us be truthful with ourselves about the fact that we don't have it all figured out. I love this because I had already written my outline for this message and then read this, and it was almost identical to what I had written, just in a more fluent and poetic way that only Bob Goff knows how to do. When looking at my past of lies, I could boil it down to one thing. I wasn't confident in who I was. Bob says it as we're uncertain about who we are and how we fit into the larger arc of life. We're insecure. When I was a kid and I did something I shouldn't have done, I would lie about it. I wasn't secure enough in myself to own up and take responsibility for my actions. So to break it down just a little bit further, we lie because we aren't confident in who we are. And that can continue into 2 different sections for me. One is who we are and who we want to be, but we are insecure about that. Just lie and it covers it up. And number 2 is when I don't want to admit to myself who I am and that it is destructive for me and those around me. So in my mind, we get to resolve these reasons we lie by doing these things. We become secure in ourselves. We know who we are and who God called us to be. We live into that. We don't shy away from telling people what we are feeling or the ideas we have at work. And obviously, all of this is in a kind, compassionate way. We don't shy away from being rejected because we have a God who was rejected and mocked and killed, but then rose to be seated on the right hand of God the Father. And the second thing, when we are secure in that and still find we are hiding things, maybe it's because deep down, really deep down, we know we need to make better decisions for ourselves. If I'm lying about cheating on a test, it's probably because I know that I'm not making the best choice for myself and should use that energy to better prepare myself. If I'm lying about my happiness, then I should seek out close relationships to talk to, or a pastor, or a counselor, or all three. The first type of lying calls for confidence in who we are and who God says we are. The second calls for action. I'll end today with another quick excerpt from the end of the chapter in Bob Goff's book, Dream Big. Bob writes, "I used to think that we had to have our act together for God to use us and for our ambitions to be attainable, but I don't think that anymore. Here's the incredible thing. God still finds a way to use me. He'll use you too if you're willing." Something happens when we mess up. We get to start fresh. Are we going to get it wrong from time to time? Yep. Will we make big things out of small things? You bet. Yet God is infinitely patient with us. Sometimes the mistakes are small ones, and sometimes they're big ones. I'm still messing up the simple things in my life, but God calls me his own nonetheless. God does the same with you. We need to get this straight as we explore our ambitions, or we'll let our past failures block our bright futures. I hope this helped today because I know how big my God is. I know that God has incredible plans in store for you. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you watch this on Facebook, hit the like and share button. If you watched on YouTube, we'd love if you subscribe. And if you watched it on television, invite your friends and family to join next time. Thank you so much. God bless.